What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Fox Fantasy Insiders. This is season 4 of our show.
4 seasons?
4 seasons, 4 years of doing this. You know, here we are back for the 2024-2025 NFL season.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking all things fantasy football. See, in previous seasons, we have only done sleeper picks on this show. Well, now we got something different in store this year.
What do we got for him, Luke? What are we doing?
Picture us as a fantasy football podcast, you know. So now we're going to be doing not only sleeper picks, but we're going to do rookie radar, DFS picks. We're going to talk about dynasty, stardom, sit-on decisions.
Ooh.
We got everything in store for you guys this season. You know, just sit back, relax with us. We got a nice new set here. We got some new merch. And it's just overall going to be a great season talking about fantasy football. Now, Justin, we have a returning sponsor on the show. Who we rocking with?
That we do. By the awesome set we got rocking here, Gaming Generations is sponsoring this season of Fox Fantasy Insiders. Check out Gaming Generations, where the gaming world comes to life. Embrace the gaming lifestyle with friends, new and old, and rediscover those classic games with their wide range of retro gaming options. From consoles to headsets and controllers, they have it all. You could trade in your games for cash or store credit and always get the best deals. Do you guys need a quick fix? Well, don't go picking up a used phone off the waivers this year. If your phone goes down this season, don't worry, Gaming Generation has got you covered. From phones, tablets, laptops, consoles, controllers, and more, their walk-in repairs will make sure that you are covered. At Gaming Generations, they always make it their priority to help their customers. Gaming Generations, where your gaming dreams come to life.
That's right. Thank you, Gaming Generations, for sponsoring our show once again. We're really happy that you're on board with us for the 2024 season.
And I just want to say to everyone watching out there, I took my phone in a couple times last year, and it was just the easiest process ever. I mean, they're doing repairs that other people won't, so they have best techs in the industry. Just want to let you guys know this.
Yeah, check them out at one of their locations. Well, Justin, we're going to kick off the year with a new segment. We've never done this before.
What are we doing here?
We're going to call this My Guys, okay?
My Guys.
It's pretty simple. Justin and I have 2 guys that we're going to follow throughout the season. You know, periodically we'll check in with our My Guys. Now, these aren't just stud muffins. You know, you can't pick CeeDee Lamb or Christian McCaffrey as a My Guy. We're kind of, you know, getting value picks and just picking 2 guys we like to follow. And there's no takesies, backsies here, man.
This is who we're rolling with.
Once you're locked in, you're locked in. So, who's your first My Guy?
My first My Guy is Tank Dell. Coming back from the fractured fibula and unfortunately after being shot, I think he's due for a successful year. You know, towards the end of last season, him and CJ Stroud were finding like their rapport. They were clicking very well. He seemed to be the go-to guy for CJ Stroud. However, there is one thing to caution with this is they just got the new addition of Stefon Diggs, and we can all know how Stefon Diggs can be if the ball doesn't get thrown his way. You know, he kind of starts to pout and become all negative and thus kind of forcing the hand of CJ Stroud, and I don't think that will help the team.
Yeah, I like how this is a fun My Guy because he's got major upside.
Yep.
You know, not only does he have that exciting, explosive ability, but he's kind of like a little buried on the depth chart, but not like extremely buried. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like right in the middle here. Like, you'll have weeks that he'll probably score like 25 plus points.
Should be.
But then there might be some weeks that it doesn't work out completely. It's just a fun player to watch. I got him in our work league, you know, and I know you gave me the nod of approval on that selection. So I like the pick a lot. I think the Texans are overall just a fun team to follow.
Yeah, and I think Tank Dell is one of the shortest receivers in the league. So I think that he's just going to be...
That's why you like him, huh?
Well, I think no, just his talent for sure. But
yeah.
I think he's going to make a name for that type of size and speed.
Yeah. Well, Tank Dell is short. We know that. My first My Guy is 6'4". You know, so he's not very short. I'm going with Drake London, wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. Justin, I've been a believer since
ever.
his days in college.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I got some reasoning behind this, So we know about his size, the hands, the route running ability. He has the elite talent, right?
Yep.
But he's always had that quarterback problem. Is it solved? Desmond Ritter's out of there. Is it solved with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix on the bench? Maybe, but let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the easiest schedule according to Warren Sharp. The Falcons do.
Really?
So it's supposed to be pretty favorable for Drake London in the offense. We got Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson coming in. We got a new staff, baby. And let's talk about the 11 personnel.
Talk about it.
That means 3 wide receivers are out on offense.
Yep.
Zach Robinson comes from the Rams, and their offense ran this 92% of the time. Now, last year, Arthur Smith, 11 personnel, it was league-wide last. It was 14%.
Yep.
So they rarely had 3 wide receivers out in the field.
Do not like him.
Arthur Smith is out the door, finally.
Get him out.
He's with the Steelers. They can run and grind and pound over there. But I think this is Drake London's, this is finally that breakout we've been hoping for. He's that first-round pick, and I think this new staff is going to utilize him that way.
Yep.
And...
Same with Kyle Pitts too.
Yeah. Yep. If you're a Pitts believer, you can hop on that train as well. I
like it. I like the Drake London pick a lot.
You like Drake London, but are you like a Kyle Pitts believer too? Hit or miss?
Don't get me wrong. I picked him up this year in our work league. First time.
Experimental reasons.
Yes.
One last ride.
First time I have ever had him in any of my fantasy leagues. With the reason that Luke just said, it's a whole new coaching staff. It's a new quarterback system going in. That someone who is consistently good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we could talk about the quarterback briefly here. I mean, Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles injury. Obviously, that's a red flag. But if he's healthy, this is just a huge upgrade from what they had last year.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Falcons have a top 5-ish offensive line, so it gives Cousins some time to make plays and get the ball to Drake London or Kyle Pitts. The thing about Drake London this year in redraft specifically is the ADP is a little rich for me. It's usually like beginning of the second round, and there's some other options in there that are more certain, but I'll be honest, I have taken him in the second round because I'm that confident that he will make that jump. So if you're drafting right now and you want to hop on the Drake London train with me, you
guys can root for.
There's plenty of room.
Drake London together.
Come on in, and they also added Darnell Mooney, who just complements Drake London. I think, on the other side of the field. I just see many targets going his way. Yeah, I think it's going to be his year.
I think the Falcons are going to do a lot better this year. Just because of that whole reason.
Yeah. I mean, will you be shocked if Drake London's a top 10 wide receiver next year? Like this season?
This season? No.
Yeah. Because he's got the talent.
Yep.
We've seen it.
Yeah, we all know Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a matter of how that Achilles is doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, hypothetically, we can say if Kirk Cousins is not the quarterback and Michael Penix steps into the picture, then I don't know.
Still a good quarterback.
Well, hopefully better than Desmond Ridder. What do you got for your second my guy, Justin? You got tank down who?
My second my guy is Terry McLaurin.
I love this.
I do too. It's just Terry McLaurin his whole season hasn't had a good quarterback.
Kind of like the Drake London thing, right? Yeah, it's like a
same situation.
QB carousel.
Yep.
Year after year, the dude's switching quarterbacks.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He had Kirk Cousins for 1 year. After that, it was hit or miss. It
was like Heineke, Howell. It was just like...
Just no-namers. They were okay. Never really got the ball to them.
Yeah.
But now they just picked up Jaden Daniels. They have a new stud tight end who hopefully is going to work out. So I think that they're just building that offense. Seems to be around McLaurin now.
Yeah. I mean, can we talk about Jahan Dotson departing?
Going to the Eagles now.
I mean, I just think, okay, sure, Dotson didn't do much this last season. He was kind of irrelevant.
Right.
I mean, I think this just boosts McLaurin's stock a little bit. You know what I mean?
McLaurin is the true wide receiver one. He always has been.
Yeah.
But you would never know it, really, just with all the situations he's been in. But I'm very high on McLaurin this year. I drafted him pretty highly just because I'm a believer in him, and I think that
Where's he going? Like a wide receiver 3 flex range? Is that like where he's going in drafts?
He is my flex.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful to have a wide receiver 1 on a team.
As a flex.
Yeah. And if the rookie quarterback scares you a little bit, we know Jane Daniels can. You can toss the rock.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch any preseason games where he was playing, I mean, he looked great.
Yeah. I like the pick a lot, man. I like the pick a lot.
Who's your second pick?
I'm going with JSN, Jackson Smith Njigba, and everything out of camp in Seattle has been positive this offseason. So he was quietly good last season.
Yes.
Maybe not for a fantasy standpoint. He wasn't flashy or anything like that.
But it was also his rookie year.
Exactly. Also rookie year, he had that broken wrist in the beginning of the season that maybe slowed him down.
Yep.
But as an NFL wide receiver, I think he did a really darn good job at, helping out his team. And the Seahawks also got some new staff, So let's just be honest, though. Last year, the Seahawks did not use JSN the way they should have.
Yeah.
You take him in the first round, and here, what do I got here? 29 receptions behind the line of scrimmage for JSN. What? Why are you got speedy JSN and you get the ball behind the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, those are running backs. They call them running backs in the league.
They want to give them the ball. Do this a different way. So I really think the team will use him in the correct way. You drafted him in the first round, spread him out a little bit. He can go on the slide, he can go on the outside. I really think a good comp for this was Chris Godwin with the Buccaneers. I think he can be that type of player, because Godwin played, slot outside, and he racked in targets. And I think one year Chris Godwin was like number 2 wide receiver on the season. I'm not saying JSN is going to be number 2 wide receiver on the season.
He has the talent too.
He does have the
For
talent
sure.
too. I really think he does. I believe end of this year, JSN will be the wide receiver 2 on this team.
Yeah, I mean, you have Tyler Lockett, who's 31,
Yeah,
32.
They gave him some money. I just think DK Metcalf is the alpha. Big man. Big, strong man. But I think JSN will complement DK similar way that Lockett kind of did, but Lockett's slowly going out the door. I know the team loves him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, regardless, like, when you're just getting up there in age, you only have so many years left, and I think 1-2 years left for Lockett, and then it's going to be DK and JSN, and then whoever else they draft. But JSN's going to complement DK's really size and strength.
Yeah.
And JSN's going to be the speed.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And you're getting JSN, if you're drafting in redraft leagues, you're getting him late.
Yeah, why didn't you pick him up?
I didn't get him in our league.
That's right.
Our work league, but I got him in a couple other leagues. I'm hanging on to him in dynasty leagues. I'm pretty sure he's going in like the 10th round or something crazy like that. I think next year, 1 year from now, he will be a top 15 drafted wide receiver.
Top 15.
Top 15. That's my guess. That's my hot take. I think it's possible. And I think, we look at, Tank Dell, for example, too. Second year breakout is really common for wide receivers.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't break out, then it's just, okay, maybe they're just steady wide receivers and they're not these Justin Jeffersons or Jamar Chases, but at least we know something's there. There's our my guys for this season. Justin and I will be checking in on these dudes throughout the whole season, and hopefully they can stay healthy. Hopefully they can perform big like we expect. These are our dudes. These are our dudes, Justin.
They're our dudes.
And hopefully we're right on everything we just said.
Big, strong
we should be,
men.
because we're insiders. All right, well, our next segment, we're going to talk about drafting here. So the NFL season hasn't started yet, but it's right around the corner. A lot of you guys are doing, fancy drafts at home, at work. Don't draft and drive, however. But, we got some drafting tips for you guys today. We're going to provide 2 tips each, and hopefully you can take these and utilize them. Yeah, utilize them. You got. What's your first tip that you want to give to the public?
My first tip is always keep an eye on your buys. To me, this is probably one of the most important things when it comes to drafting, because you don't want to get to week 8 and over half your team's on buys, and now you have to find replacements, and thus leading to dropping people you don't want to drop. So if you are smart and picking people and watching your buys, you won't even have to run into that issue.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I never pay attention to this. I'm just being completely honest.
And that's okay. Some people don't.
Yeah, I mean,
you
you can get lucky and not like have to worry about it, and like it just works out that way. But there has been a couple times where it's like, oh my gosh, if you draft two quarterbacks, both my quarterbacks are on the same bye week, and then if you only have a roster maximum of like two quarterbacks, then you have to drop one of your quarterbacks.
Right, exactly. I mean, that was the main reason I put this on my tips, is because my very first year doing fantasy football, I ran into this issue, and 6 of my starters were on buys.
Yeah.
And that killed me.
The bye-pocalypse?
The bye-pocalypse absolutely killed me. But, I mean, again, it's only 1 week that they're on bye, but then, I got to go find and drop 4 to 6 players or just not play anyone and just take the loss.
I know on these apps, too, you can definitely see, like, when their bye is. You know, it's pretty easy to check. So just kind of, like, pay attention to that number throughout the draft process.
Just monitor it.
Yeah, just pay attention. It's a good tip. Maybe, like I said, I'd never pay attention, but it just works out. It just works out. Someday it's not gonna. So, yeah.
What do you got for your first tip there, Luke?
So this tip, I named it. It's called always have a backup plan for your backup plan.
Ooh.
And this is just don't tilt, like.
Okay.
You hate it when a player gets sniped that you want. You know what I mean? And this happens every year where, you're like 5 picks until your pick.
Away from it.
Yeah. And, your guy gets sniped right in front of you or 2 picks before you, and you panic because that was the guy you want. You can't put all your dimes in the bucket here.
Yep.
You got to have a backup plan, and you cannot tilt. I guess it's more of a tilting tip. Just don't tilt. Keep your composure. There's many times where you just freak out and
just pick the wrong person.
You pick the wrong person, or maybe you pick a player with the same buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you need to kind of do your mock drafts and overall just remain calm during the draft. What do you think about that?
I like it a lot because that has happened to me multiple times.
Yeah.
It's gotten like 2 picks away. I am dead set on this one player. It's gone. Now I'm lost.
It's like in your head.
I'm lost. I have no idea who to pick. And, my time on the clock's ticking down, and I'm just panicking, and I just click who's ever there, and I got to ride with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so just don't tilt, just be calm and just have a backup plan to your original plan,
I like that a lot.
Last tip.
Don't just draft based on ADP. I see this all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get so caught up in where they're ranking in the draft position that they forget that there's actually better players below them. They just have to go searching for them. So I just think that it's kind of more like a value thing too, because you also have to keep in mind after you pick, you might not be picking for another 20, 24 spots.
I mean, we had our work drafts, recently.
Yep.
And you were on the top of the draft. I was in the back of the draft.
Yep.
When that second pick comes around, you're not getting a pick for a long time.
28. We had 14 teams.
ADP goes out the door.
Yeah, you don't.
Obviously you got to know like what reaching is on a player, but like throw ADP out the door, go get your guy.
Get your guy.
Because if you don't, then you're going to be pretty upset.
Yeah. I mean, there's just more or less a value thing here. Yeah, you could take the top guy that ESPN lists or whoever you draft through lists. In all reality, that there's just more talent and value in a couple players lower.
Right. I like that a lot. For my second tip, I'm going to be talking about balancing risk and reward. Target players with high upside, but also complement that roster with steady players. And an example I want to bring up is one of Justin's my guys, Tank Dell. Extremely high upside. This is a guy that can win your week.
Yep.
But do you want to draft an Xavier Worthy on that same roster? Because that's probably a guy that's going to have a high upside. He seems like the same type of player, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be fun, and you can really destroy some opponents having those two guys in the same team. But maybe I don't know, get a Calvin Ridley, you know, a veteran that's like kind of like safe. He's a wide receiver one.
A little more certainty.
Yeah, that way you have, I guess it's just kind of like balancing out your roster. You know, obviously you want some high upside, but you also want some steadiness. And that's where this tip comes into play. You know, don't just shoot for the moon on, you know, all these like high risk players. Gabe Davis is another example. Like,
oh God,
yeah, I mean,
started on Gabe Davis.
You're not a Gabe Davis fan. I get it, but you know, he can wreck some.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
there's one game he's going for 30 points.
Yeah,
but then there would be a stint of 6 weeks with literally 0 points.
Right.
And then you're like, okay, I'm not playing him anymore.
Yeah.
And then that's when he goes off again.
Yeah.
But it's also, true. I'm not drafting anyone on the Chiefs. I don't want anything to do with that offense.
Tell us
unless
why.
It's Travis Kelce.
Okay, you don't want Isaiah Pacheco in the top of the second?
I mean, okay, I would take Pacheco or Kelce. Anyone else, don't want to do it.
Patrick Mahomes too rich?
It's just, there's so many weapons. I mean, he's a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I mean, the best in the league.
Yeah.
It's just, he's just too good. He can dish to everyone, and
yeah,
it's just anyone could go off. I mean, there's no certainty besides Kelce and Pacheco on that team.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, there's our drafting strategies. Hopefully you guys are successful in your fantasy drafts this season. We're going to end the show off with Super Bowl predictions. We do this every year.
Love it.
We do this every year. We're pulling 2 teams that we think are going to this year's Super Bowl, and we're going to choose our winner. I usually tweet this out. You can follow me on Twitter at BaldLucas, and follow the Insiders Twitter too at FFInsiders2548 if you want to trash talk us or anything like that.
Yeah, please.
So,
I just want to say, last year's Super Bowl prediction was pretty close.
Who'd you have last year? Like Ravens?
I don't know who I had. It was close.
Yeah. Maybe Ravens and Niners? I don't know.
It was Ravens Niners.
Oh.
Well,
anyways, let's talk about this year.
Yeah, let's talk about this year.
Who do you got?
I'm going with the Eagles versus the Texans, ladies and gentlemen.
That's exciting.
I just think I love CJ Stroud. I love Tank Dell. Got the new addition of Joe Mixon on his team and Diggs.
I was going to say, Stephon Diggs is in the picture now.
If this team works how I think it's going to work and CJ Stroud's that dog, I think they have a possibility of going to Super Bowl this year.
I mean, they made a run in the playoffs, so it's like, why not?
Yeah, with Tank Dell out without him.
Head coach is sweet. I can't, DeMarco something, but I do love that guy.
Yeah.
That guy he's a dog. Well, I got something kind of fun.
You got something fun?
Yeah, I got something fun. I do have the Ravens.
Love them.
I have the Ravens facing the Lions in the Super Bowl. I really think, the Lions were this close.
Oh, man.
To go into last year's Super Bowl. And what a great game that was.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah. And just Jahmyr Gibbs, huge fan of him. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's just a fun.
Sam Laporta, shout out my guy.
It's a fun, high-octane offense. And I just think they can actually do it this year if everyone stays healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want everyone healthy.
Yeah. What the head coach said. Gives it at all.
Oh, yeah. He's 110% all the time.
Yeah.
Nothing lower.
4th and 24, he's going for it.
Yeah. And then the Ravens. I love Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
He said he lost some weight this offseason.
It's looking good.
Hopefully he can shift around and be all speedy. And they just added Derrick Henry. So,
Oof.
Are you gonna
guaranteed
focus on options, man? Or are you gonna focus on Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson? That's 2 very scary threats.
Yeah, or Zay Flowers.
Yeah, and then they got Zay Flowers.
Or Mark Andrews.
The wide receiving core is a little murky in my opinion, but I think they'll just figure it out. Yeah. They did last year. They figured it out. So we got our teams, Justin. Who's gonna win?
You tell me. Who are you thinking?
I got Ravens and Lions. I really do. Oh, man,
who's he picking?
Both teams are fun. I think I'm going to go with the more fun pick, and I'm going to go with Dan Campbell's offense.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Lions.
I like it.
Winning this year's Super Bowl. It's a bold pick. I really think it can happen if everyone stays healthy. We'll see what happens. But that's my take. That's my take.
I like it a lot. I am going with the Texans, of course. I love CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, and I'd be so happy for them to get a ring.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That's a fun offense. Fun offense for sure. Dude, what if it's Texans-Lions?
I'm not gonna lie, that was my other option. But
That
I
would
just
be really
figured-
fun. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. Our first episode of Fox Fantasy Insiders, brought to you by Gaming Generations. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode and enjoy this new format that we're doing. We'll cover sleepers,
Oh yeah.
just not every week. We're going to mix it up, keep you guys on your toes. So join Justin and I next week on episode 2 of Fox Fantasy Insiders, brought to you by Gaming Generations. Good luck drafting.